Hello, everyone. It's me, Ward on Fire. I just had some Chinese dinner, did my dishes, done my things for the evening. I was all ready to turn into bed, and then here it came, a voice telling me that I'm not allowed to sleep yet. So I'm listening, and I'm being told a story inside of my head, and I couldn't come to the conclusion until just now. You know, we've been seeing the lesbian groups and the abortionists and all the groups out there pushing mankind towards wherever it wanted us to go. I'm only just seeing it right now that the world is completely possessed by Pied Pipers. We are seeing pipers today going off, leading people astray from God, be it the false preachers in church, teachers, scientists, science, you name it, mass media. They're all just pulling people away from God. I'm witnessing the pipers now, and it's quite amazing because I always seen it when the feminist movement came out. I seen it grow and rise, and I didn't know exactly how to describe what I was witnessing, but now it's very clear to me. They are Pied Pipers. People need to start asking themselves like one question: what's at the end of the road that I'm going down? What's at the end of the road that I am going down? What will the results be? People need to start asking themselves these questions because emotionally following somebody, impulsively following somebody, or just following somebody because it's easy to do will lead your country and humanity to the deepest, darkest pits of hell. All the pipers are piping the same tune. There is no God but government. And they're having a pretty massive effect. I put a lot of hope in the MGTOW group because I realized if they snapped out of marriage and snapped out of the cycle that women are evil and not caring and kind, that maybe this is the group, the New Age disciples. But sadly, they're really stuck in their own anti woman issues every single day. They don't talk about anything else besides anti marriage, anti family, being a slave on the and being a slave on the foundations. And yeah, like I said, I'm tired. Um, Slave on the plantation, I should have said. So it's just become very clear to me that there's Pied Pipers out there all over the place. And it's up to me, I guess, to warn everybody out there about them. Because I don't see many preachers out there doing that. You notice the big thing today about Christian preachers? They're all talking about the rapture, the end of days, blah, blah, blah. They're not talking about the here and now, the very here and now, with the false preachers and the false ministers, because they themselves are the false preachers and the false ministers. They're not going to talk and exploit themselves. it's I don't know what to think anymore. I mean, simply put, I know what's going on, but to see it unfold this way that it's supposed to unfold is really mind-boggling. Sometimes, as a Christian, I have to take 3 to 4 or 5, sometimes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days break of being a Christian. I follow the rules and obey God, but I don't say a prayer and I don't read the Bible for a few days because my brain is completely overwhelmed because I'm reading in the book what is supposed to happen, and then I look at the news and it's actually happening, and that can be quite mind-boggling. you know, I'm still completely messed up by seeing the White House covered in rainbow colors. It's still blowing my mind. When I try to close my eyes to go to sleep, I still see the White House in rainbow colors, the acceptance of gay marriage in the United States. What a seal of fate that is, man. You're not supposed to be appeasers. You're not supposed to be people that bow down. You're a nation that was actually built on the strongest will prevail, the righteous will prevail. I mean, you have everything from witch burnings, witch hunts, to killing the. You also had a lot of killing the infidels because you killed off all the Indians. I mean, think about it, folks. Your country was always based on protecting the true inner beliefs. But you've now let that go down the crapper, and your White House actually became a rainbow house this week. Man, I'm really half asleep here because it's quite late here, but when I close my eyes, I still see the White House in rainbow colors, and it's just still blowing my mind that that actually took place. That is beyond wrong. It's laughable wrong. I'm just watching this Pied Piper sending the whole country to hell, and they're all wanting to go there. Don't you all ever think about what's the end of the road that you're following? Do you really, every single day, have to travel down the road until you finally reach the end before you actually see the end? Is it that hard to do? Would you rather be brainwashed than know the truth? Would you rather be a slave than be free? I don't understand why people are doing this to themselves. Because you are doing it to yourselves. Sure, they're putting it out there. Sure, they're making sure that you fall for it. But you have to be smarter than that and rise above it and actually walk on water and discern for the situation that you're in. I've watched some of the American news media just for kicks. You see, I like to study psychology, and sometimes I'll put on WWF or whatever WWE it's called, just to see the mass mentality of the American mindset. And then sometimes I'll watch a video of Beyonce just to see how the females there are being highly hypersexualized. And I try to analyze the people this way, and I try to make a general decision about where mankind is going. And I could pretty much tell you that America is becoming Sodom, and the people that used to live and work in Hollywood call it Sodom. If you're all following Hollywood, then you're all becoming Sodom. I mean, really, you've just let your White House become the Rainbow House. Uh, it's like the worst president is the one you'll always pick. The murderer, the brainwasher, the manipulator, the abuser, the liar. Yeah, those are the ones you pick to become president. But the good ones, you're always like, he's a goody goody. I mean, you all know you would have done better with Ron Paul than anybody else, and yet you still didn't pick him. Laughable. Sometimes I can't believe how pathetic human beings have become. That you would just always go on impulse and always go on emotion and always on the instant gratification. It just mind boggles me. When I do things, when I plan them out from the begin to the end, I don't take a step without planning it out. And it just blows my mind how the average American human being right now is just completely on a whim, instantly. It has to be done. It's all filled with emotion. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't understand why people do this to themselves. And you know it's wrong, and yet you still allow it to happen. The Rainbow House. Wow. Let's just force gay marriage on 14 states that don't want to have it and see what happens. Don't you all know what happens when somebody uses too much force? If I came up and pushed you right now, you go, hey man, what the hell? And I would just sit there and look at you, and you'd forget about it, and you go back to your beer or whatever. And I come by and I push you again. You're gonna look at me and go, dude, what the fuck? and you might take a swing at me, and I would just take a step back and pretend like nothing happened, and then you'd forget about it and go drink your beer. Then I come by and I ram you really hard and throw you pretty much over the bar. Well, this infuriates you, and you want to go out and you want to kill me now. But for some reason, with the United States, the government can just keep pushing you and 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 pushing you, and you're all okay with it. I just don't get it. Where's your line in the sand? I really don't understand this. I mean, you got the lesbian group out there that's saying, "Oh, we're so protective of females," yet police are beating up and raping females all the time there. I don't get it. I don't understand where your loyalties are. What has to happen before you're all going to say enough of this crap? When you finally realize that you outrank them and that you outnumber them 100 to 1, when will you all realize that? Then you have your street protests when they actually do take place. You have like 200 people going down marching down to the White House, and that barely makes the news. I mean, I can't believe that BBC actually has a rule that they won't even record or videotape protest march unless there's 100 people or more. Amazing. Everybody feels really small in this world today, yet you're really big and you don't notice it. That amazes me. The power of one person is so strong. You know, okay, for example, with my videos, I came out and told you about my story. And over time, I started talking about females in general. And then I started adding some religion to it. And then I became mostly religious. And over the last 4 years, you've seen my channel change from hardcore MGTOW to Christian MGTOW. It's funny. I just can't get over this rainbow White House. I still see the colors in front of me. It's like that should have been the biggest line in the sand, but it never was. 14 states are now forced to take part in gay marriage. All Christian ministers right now are forced to legalize gay marriage and have to hold the ceremonies for these homosexuals. Absolutely incredible. I don't even understand why they believe that this kind of a marriage has anything to do with God in the first place. God says that they are abominations to him, that he does not know them. So why would you want to have a marriage from a Christian minister? What's the point? You're standing in a church and God's not even looking at you. He's like, I don't know you. I don't get why you have to have the marriage thing. Why can't you just get another legally binding contract between you and the government and the state? Why do you have to get the religions involved? Why do you have to get church involved? You see, that's the real truth about the lesbian and homosexual, bisexual, and transgender movement is to remove religion. It's not about the sex. It's not about man on man. It's about going against religion. I guarantee you, if it wasn't in the Bible that God was against it, it wouldn't be taking place. What I mean by that is very simple. This is why you also have bestiality out there where people are having sex with animals because God is against that. So therefore, people want to do it because they want to naturally rebel against God. This is why the feminists last year in the Vatican decided to go up to the crib where baby Jesus was laying and take him out of the crib. What does that have to do with female rights? Absolutely nothing. What does it have to take? What does it have to do with? It has to do with religion, taking Jesus out of the manger. And they keep wanting to get rid of the patriarchy. Well, the patriarchy is religious, folks. Don't you all understand that? If I asked you what is the patriarchy, you'll all tell me, oh, it's a system that was made up by men that we've been living by for a couple of thousand years. But that's not exactly what patriarchy is. Patriarchy is simply the vow that God made to Adam, that Adam would be ruler over humanity, that man would rule over woman. And this is what they don't like. They don't like the patriarchy. So this goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. And yet people will say, "Oh, there's no religion out there." The whole entire world evolves around religion. Everything in this world revolves around religion, and yet people go, "There is no God." Simply mind blowing how you can actually live that way. You got a city in Israel, and if even the tiniest little explosion happens there, where a building gets hurt, you're looking at World War III, and people still don't believe in a God. Well, you know what, folks? Whether you believe in this God or not, if something happens to those buildings, there could be a nuclear explosion going off worldwide. It could be World War III. So whether or not you believe, you still could die for it. Speaking about dying for it, 39 people were killed on the beach in Tunisia this week. 39 people. How many of them do you think were atheists? You see, they didn't believe in a God, yet they died for one. So the question you might want to be asking yourself is, which one do you want to die for? Which one do you want to live for? Because one of them actually asks for you to die for him, and the other one actually asks for you to live for him. So which one do you want to do? You don't have to be religious to die in something religious. The entire world is based on religion. Everything in this world is religious. You just, if you don't know the signs, it doesn't mean that's not religious. I mean, there are even things on television today that are completely religious. I was watching Beyonce this afternoon for the fuck of it, just to see what kind of psychology she was putting out to her public. I mean, how many people do you actually understand this? If you pay $60 for a concert ticket and you go to a concert of Beyonce and you stand there in one of those rows and you are looking at this woman dancing, you are actually looking at a siren who is seducing her entire audience. They masquerade as entertainment while they're actually casting spells upon you. And then you leave with the entities that they bring towards you. And when you are praising this person, you are actually praising that demon that is inside of them. When I watched Beyonce today, I was completely shocked to see that most of her dance moves come from Shiva. The hand gestures mostly, as well as the inside outside thigh thing that she does. Pretty disgusting. I was just watching people become completely hysterical for this woman, and meanwhile, I'm thinking, she's a harpy. She's a siren. She's luring people in with her beauty. The devil gave her those perfect tits. I mean, when you look at the body of Beyonce in these videos, she has this perfect female form, but there's a reason for that. I mean, the devil makes lust and seduction very tempting. I mean, you got to make her look beautiful, or people won't like her that much. I mean, really, all that woman ever does, I've watched a couple of her songs now. Every song that she sings, she acts like she's horny, as if she's laying in bed with you, and that's how she sings to you, as if she's waiting for you to mate with her like that. And she comes from that kind of an attitude. And I notice that for most singers nowadays, that they come to you from a sexual based attitude, not just from well, like in the 80s, there were love songs and people were singing about love. Today, it's about sex songs and people are singing about sex. It's all about lust. It's all about instant gratification. It's all about emotion. And people are just falling for it hook, line, and sinker. And then there's me who's just witnessing everybody being hooked by something and trying to save them. And they're all telling me at the same time, I can't be saved. Let me go. I can't be saved. And that makes me a little bit crazy because I feel like I end up a bit alone that way because everybody I talk to goes, "Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're a psycho because you're religious. Oh, there is no God." That's the biggest conversation I have. Is like, even if you're not religious and I am religious, why do you keep telling me there is no God? You can't change my point of view, just like I can't change your point of view. But you're a fool for not believing. But anyways, I can't change your point of view. So why are you trying to change mine? I can't seem to hang out with anybody anymore without them bringing up religion in one form or another. I don't really like people, that is, anyway, so 'cause most people are pretty crazy nowadays. I don't know what happened to the world. I mean, I do know, but I just can't believe that everybody fell for it. I can't believe that a black man comes up and everybody's white guilt votes in the black man and then protects the black man because they have white guilt. I can't believe that took place. It's like, and then you all can't even admit that's exactly what took place because you're too ashamed to admit that. And yet, only thing that will ever set you free is the truth because the truth sets you free. But now you want to make the same mistake with the female president in Hillary Clinton, who has actually been known to murder people. But her favorite choice of weapon and hitman is the shotgun. And her husband has been known to rape women. But sure, this will make a great president, right? Ugh. The White House. It became a rainbow house. I can't believe it. Where is America's line drawn in the sand? I don't understand this. Even our Civil War, the very first Civil War, half the things happened that have happened now. It's like, will we ever draw a line in the sand? The American pastors have really convinced the Christians so very well that there was going to be a pre trib rapture. I mean, bravo to the American government for pulling that one on the Christians. You know, even God says that his elect will be confused. There is no pre trib rapture. That would go against the complete entire point of Christianity. You cannot be raptured out before everything bad happens because when everything bad happens, you're going to be needed most of all. What do you think is going to happen? You think that, okay, well, when Jesus comes back riding on a swift cloud, he's going to land in Egypt, and there he's going to take out you know who. And after he's taken them all out, he's going to go and destroy 31 nations. And he's going to trample them all in what he calls the Great Wine Press. What do you think is going to happen to the people that don't get killed? It's going to be the Christians' job to pick them up and educate them on Christianity and bring them back to Christ. The Christians, the biggest job the Christians will ever have to do is when Christ comes back to earth. So why would Christ set us off into heaven and then take care of everything by himself and then not need us to pick up the pieces? We are going to be needed to pick up the pieces. That's what the Christian's job is going to be. We are his cleanup crew. That's the truth of it. So why people believe in a pre-trib rapture, the only reason I could believe that this is actually possible is because they're afraid that they're going to have to suffer like everybody else is going to have to suffer. Well, did Christ have a nice, decent life? No, he did not. At the age of 33, he was crucified and beaten almost halfway to death. Think about it. You're beaten halfway to death and hung up on a cross, and you survive for 6 hours and you die. He had no good way out. People from ISIS's victims today are not having an easy way out. 39 people in Tunisia this week did not have an easy way out. There is no easy way out. There is no pre-trib rapture. As a matter of fact, how do you even think that you have earned the right to be raptured out? What have you done as a Christian to earn that rapturing out? Nothing. But if you are his cleanup crew and you pick up the pieces and bring them to him, then you have earned your right for the rapture. As a matter of fact, folks, the Bible clearly states that the devil will be thrown into a pit and he will be locked up for 1,000 years. This clearly states 1,000 years. And there will be 1,000 years of peace on earth. So why do you believe in some kind of pre-trib rapture when you know that you have at least 1,000 years left on the planet? Think about it. There is no pre-trib rapture. But if you can convince the American people that there is a pre-trib rapture and they see the threats coming, they're going to say, "Oh well, the end is here. Let's surrender and give up." And that is what we are witnessing now in the United States. So bravo to the American government for pulling that one over on the Christians. That was pretty darn clever. They tricked the Christians into believing there's going to be a pre-trib rapture, so therefore the Christians will just lay down. Everybody said America is sleeping. I still say about 75% of America is Christian. So if the giant is sleeping, it is the Christians that are sleeping. And the Christians are sleeping because their churches and their ministers have convinced them that there is a pre-tribulations rapture, that they will be taken off the planet to a big celebration party while Jesus does all the work by himself down here. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would we go to a party when the host is still down here? The Bible clearly says that there will be 1,000 years of peace while the devil is locked in a pit for 1,000 years. That means that the planet will still be existing for at least 1,000 years. So this pre-trib rapture and the regular rapture, that's not going to happen for at least another 1,000 years. So why are people believing in this and laying down arms saying, "Oh well, the end is here"? Bravo to the American government by tricking the churches into believing they can have a tax exempt status. All they had to do is fill in a form and they would become tax free as a church. Little did they know that nothing is free. So now the churches are owned by the government and they have to preach what the government wants them to preach. And if they do not preach this, they lose their tax exempt status. So thousands of people are being told disinformation. The Bible clearly says that there will be many false people, false preachers coming in his name in the end time. I can say that we are in the end time. That does not mean that the rapture is imminent. Despite that Jesus says that he will come as a thief in the night, there are instances and things that have to occur before he returns. One of them is that the Sea of Galilee will have to be dried up. So as long as that sea is not dried up, despite the fact that it is drying up right now, that in the last 10 years it has lost around 50 yards of water. You can tell just by that when he will return. But there's still a lot of water left in that lake, that sea. And that is only merely one of the things that have to happen. There have to be two witnesses. Many people said they've already came. I don't believe they have come yet because the whole world will see them. People say that, oh, it was Jesus and God, and that's not true because they will die and be resurrected, and the whole world will see it. There has been no Antichrist yet, although it seems like he is on his way in Turkey. It could be Erdogan, but I don't think it is. I think it might be his successor that will be it. There still has to be a 7-year peace treaty. There still has to be a military that is crushed in the middle of the desert that gets sucked up in a sinkhole. The city of, oh man, I can't remember the name of it because I'm really tired. Damascus will have to be completely destroyed, and so far it is not completely destroyed. Mecca will have to be blown up. Saudi Arabia will have to be burning. That hasn't happened yet either. I mean, everybody's so afraid of the imminent rapture and the imminent coming of the Antichrist because you've all been suckered in by the Illuminati's trap, by your mass media brainwashing, your demonic stuff you see on television, and the things that you are continuously spammed and told. If you tell a lie long enough, people will start believing it as truth. And that is what's happening right now. You know, if the Illuminati was as smart as they think that they are, why did they go around promoting 666? when in the original Septuagint Bible it says chi, psi, and stigma in the Greek alphabet. So why would they be translating it as 666 unless they are trying to convince the West that they are the leaders of the demonic sect, the demonic cult? They're just trying to make you believe that they are the aggressor. They're trying to bring the focus onto you, onto them, I should say. They're trying to trick you into making you look at them. I guess it's actually what you would call a Hail Mary in football terms, where you distract and then the other takes off. I've already mentioned what the mark of the beast is several times. I don't have to go down that road. Um, I might as well check to see if I have any viewers. Probably don't. It's really late. Well, at least it's late here. I mean, I've had that burn on the back of my leg for a week now, and sleeping is just not an option. It's quite a severe burn, and it's very uncomfortable. I'm on painkillers right now as well for the burn that I received, and muscle relaxers. Yeah, I was talking about the Pied Pipers in the beginning of this video. It's just amazing to see how Obama did it. If you see Obama, you can with his little slogan of "Yes we can, yes we can." He really led the nation into believing that change was possible, and change was possible. But he never said it would be good change, did he? He promised you change, but he never said it would be for the better. You know, YouTuber Jeff Morgan, he posted a very good post on Facebook a couple days ago. It was 45 steps to communism in the United States. And some of these steps were really incredible. They were talking about dumbing down the society, uh, indoctrination in schools, um, Planned Parenthood, and just a whole bunch of other things that was actually currently happening. I found that was a pretty interesting post. I can't find it no more though. So, like I said, sometimes you, as a Christian, it's very annoying that you have other plans, but your head will not let you rest until you get out what you have to say, as if God is pushing it out of you and using you as an instrument to tell everybody else what's going on. When you get something downloaded inside of you from Him, you can't just sit still. You have to get it out. You have to let other people know. It just festers up inside of you, and you can't sleep. You keep tossing and turning, and it won't let you go until you finally put it out into a video form and then showed it to the rest of the world. Sometimes it can be very annoying, and it can ruin your day plans because you had other plans. But yeah, that's the price you pay as a tool to God, because that's what you are as a Christian. You are an instrument to Him. If He needs to use you, He can use you. That's I think that's probably one of the most important things about being a Christian is that you're open to allowing Him to use you as what He needs to use you for. And then you have to trust in Him that He's not going to get you killed, such as Daniel in the lion's den and Daniel in the pit of the furnace. I mean, he was thrown into a furnace, Daniel, with two of his best friends. Could you imagine how scary that is? You're told something from God, and you have to tell the king, and then the king throws you into a furnace, and he wants to set you on fire, but you end up don't burning because God saved you. That's pretty amazing. So I think a lot of Christians forget to have that kind of faith. That you're supposed to go out there and you're supposed to throw it out there and you're supposed to let people know that, hey, I'm a Christian. This is what we believe in, and you should be believing in it too, because it leads to peace and it leads to a good life. And the only way to an to an afterlife is through Jesus Christ. So I think Christians should go out there and tell the whole world what they believe in, and trust in the fact that God will protect them, just like God protected Daniel when he was thrown into the furnace and when he was thrown into the lion's den. I think a lot of Christians today have forgotten that kind of spirit, that kind of mentality, and that kind of trust in God. And that kind of trust in God is very important. That is the true relationship with Him. Do you think it was easy for me to come out when I first came out with my Christian videos and talk to you all about religion the way that I do today? No, it was very hard for me. I was expecting a whole bunch of negative comments. It was to my utter surprise that I had a bunch of positive comments to that video, but it was a pretty good video I made. It was my introduction between Christianity and Mikto, and it was the video that I made that we've been warned for 6,000 years that God about women. And I linked a whole bunch of Bible verses in that video with the Conan soundtrack in the background, and it was to show men that for 6,000 years God was telling us about females already. And a lot of men liked that video, and I ended up making more Christian videos. I made videos showing men what women are really supposed to be like by showing them Christian women from the Bible, such as Mary and Esther, and Sarah, by the way. I heard some pretty negative comments last week on I really don't like the fucking National Geographic Channel or the Discovery, especially not Nat Geo. Nat Geo always pretends like they're gonna have a really good Christian documentary, like the history of the Crusades, and then you find out that they're just trying to badmouth God, just trying to make everybody disbelieve in God. Yeah, it's like the Shroud of Turin. Okay, everybody today says the Shroud of Turin is fake, that they did carbon dating on it, and the dating was inaccurate. They don't tell you that there's been studies done that show that the piece of cloth was a restored piece of cloth that was not meant should not have been used for testing. They also don't tell you how inaccurate carbon dating is. They don't tell you all of that. They just tell you that the cloth is fake. And in the end of the documentary, they say, well, if we took this to the courts and we lay down all the evidence that we have to prove that this is really genuinely Christ, it would be a 300 million to 1 shot that this is Christ. And it's like nobody, it doesn't dawn on people that it is said that it's 300 million to 1, that it's not Christ. And yeah, people don't seem to think about it. They don't want the Shroud of Turin to be accurate. They don't want it to be. This is why the Pope himself has a piece of the Shroud of Turin that they could use right now for carbon testing, and they could prove that the shroud is genuine. But he is the one that has the test piece, and he's not giving it up because they don't want us to believe in Christ. They don't want us to believe us. They don't want us to believe in God. They want us to believe in world government. They want us to believe that the government is the Savior. The government is the Messiah. This is what they want. They don't want you to believe in Jesus. But when you do believe in Jesus, government ceases to have all power over you. Sure, they can break your bones. They can lock you in a jail cell. But they can't take your spirit away anymore. Look at Dr. Kent Hovind. He's the perfect example of that. They locked him away for 8 years. And they made a whole bunch of false allegations against him. Yet he's still a Christian minister. He's gaining Christian people. He's turning atheists over to Christians. He's turning hardened criminals over to Christians while he's in prison. So, they don't want you to believe in God, folks. They want you to believe that they are God. And that is all part of the NWO. The strength of one human being is very powerful if you know how to use it. If you just know how to flip the script. That's all you got to do. And everybody can do it. All you have to do is stop against the falsehood. If somebody comes up to you and gives you a fake chuckle and laughs in your face and you just know it's fake, you call them out on it. Just call them out for being a faker and stand your ground and watch what happens. You might get ridiculed by her friends or his friends, but people will stand up next to you. I'm telling you, when one person stands up, it's like a wave. One stands up, two behind him, three, four, five. all start standing up together. That's where you find true unity. That's where you really find true unity. Okay, what's going to happen, you think, if America right now has race riots break out and a race war and a whole civil war, and it becomes as bad as blacks versus whites again, and the whole country is divided, and the United Nations comes in and throws everybody in FEMA camps? Is everybody going to continue fighting against each other inside the FEMA camps, or are they going to start working against the United Nations for putting them in FEMA camps? Who will be the enemy then? You should be thinking about that now. America, you need to start thinking again. You can't just keep going down the road of instant gratification, impulsive behavior, and emotion. You need to know the road that you're on and what the road will lead to. Be very mindful of these things. Figure it out for yourselves. You're smart enough to do so. And stop being a follower and start being a leader. You don't need to follow. Following is for losers. Be a leader. With that said, this is Wardone's Fire. I'm going to sign off for the evening. I'm very tired, folks. You all have a good evening. See you all later. Take care. Bye.